in 1984, or excuse me, 83. They lost in 84 to Rawway in the semifinals. In 83, they defeated Linden 22-9.
And you know what, Matt? When you grab John Bauer, you say, John, what's the most important thing about football in Randolph? You know what he says? Roxbury.
That's right. He certainly enjoyed the 25-8 thrashing that Randolph gave Roxbury last Saturday. Williams sending a screen to the other side, incompleted pass, and the clock stops with 1:09 to play. There is no doubt that the most important game on the Randolph schedule, in John Bauer's mind, is the Roxbury game. It's a long rivalry. It was suspended briefly because Roxbury played in the Iron Division of the Iron Hills Conference, and Randolph was in the Hills Division. But now with Randolph back up into the larger school division of the conference, they were able to resume the rivalry. And they had something like 7,000 fans here last Saturday for that game. 3rd and long as Guida goes in motion. They'll try to go up inside to Fioli, and he maybe got back to the original line of scrimmage. So 4th down as we have a minute even left to play. And now we get a timeout called by Randolph. So Randolph says, listen, we're going to have some time left. We got a guy who can air it out. Let's stop the clock. Let's get the ball in what we hope is decent field position, because Frieden has gotten off 2 successive poor punts. And maybe we can put some more points on the board late. Don't forget, time in. Our next live show will be on the 18th. And we will review the 1986 high school sports year. We will have the presentation of the trophy to the #1 team in the TV3 Top 10. And we will invite that coach to join us. We will also talk to some of the coaches of some of the other state champions that have come from the TV3 area during the 86 year. And there have been a number. You think back to Irvington in girls basketball, Westfield with the lacrosse state championship, Roselle Park, a sectional championship in baseball, Westfield soccer championship. Reading on, 4th punt, slips again, but the ball bounces at the 41 and takes a roll for Summit down to the 30.
Randolph very close to blocking that one. They were very close in the previous one that went out of bounds. In fact, I think it went out of bounds because of the pressure that the Randolph defenders put on. Now, watch how close they come here from the inside. And that's not too far away. That's a step, 1 step away from blocking. You know, you talk about John Bauer. Can you imagine, is he smart enough to figure out that should Roxbury beat Union and should he beat Summit, he can claim both titles?
Nardolillo to throw, has Wagner wide open, and Wagner makes the catch up to the 49-yard line. Randolph wants to hustle to the line as the clock is stopped as they move the chains. 27 seconds to play.
Summit with 3 defenders 20 yards off the ball, giving away the short one and trying to stop the clock.
Down the middle, Nardolillo throws. It's picked off again by Nichols, his 2nd interception, and he's looking for some room to run. Picks up a block. He might go all the way. Bureau's chasing him down from behind, and finally he is cut out of bounds by Figarelli, but a great return by Nichols gives Summit a shot with 7 seconds left.
Figarelli ran him down from behind, and if it hadn't been for him, Nichols may have gone all the way. Now, here we are after the possession. Watch him cross the field now. He changes the direction that he was going. He'd run to his left. Now he's running back. People are sliding in the mud. Those big linemen can't catch him. Watch Figarelli just speed up from the outside, try to run him down, and causes him to go out of bounds. A great job by Todd Nichols. Summit has the opportunity to put 1 play, or maybe 2, into the air.
37-yard line, 7 seconds left in the half. Williams wants to throw, of course, pressure, and fires it out of bounds with 1 second to play. Williams, with this turf on any of his pass attempts, he's having trouble with his footing, and he can't plant.
Can't set up.
Nardolillo is not having that trouble, but Williams is, and he's throwing off balance. He's throwing from his hind foot.
Nardolillo is a straight drop-back passer, and they're trying to let Williams roll out. And you just can't roll out in this kind of stuff because you don't get the proper footing. And just as you said, Matt, you picked it up. He can't set his foot, therefore he can't get any zip on the ball, and that's just a lame duck up in the air.
After years of broadcasting with you, I begin to pick up a few things about football. Last play, Fioli will go to the air, loss it up for anyone, and that play will work once, but it won't work twice. Randolph fooled the first time. That time they had 3 people surrounding Nichols. Schultz caught the ball, but out of bounds, and so that ends the first half. 6-0 the score, a Figuarelli 3-yard touchdown run. The difference in the ball game. We'll take a break. We'll come back with our halftime presentation. Stay with us.
I'd made up my mind on a new Ford, and I chose to buy at Montclair Bloomfield Ford because they offer quality care. That's a commitment from MB Ford's service department to make sure every new car performs perfectly, from delivery to checkups later on. First, a great deal, then great service. Ask MB Ford about quality care. Their service department proves that what goes on behind the scenes is as important as their upfront deal. Montclair Bloomfield Ford, 15 Bloomfield.
Also dominating in the turnover category.
Rushing, and as we said at the end of the first half, had it not been for some of the Randolph turnovers, it may be a blowout right now. However, Summit is still in the ball game, and remember, Summit has the ability to come back and win ball games.
The only score in the game, Mike Figuarelli on a 3-yard run with 8:59 to play in the first half. They went for 2. The pass was incomplete, so we are at 6-0.
And we mentioned Summit's track record. There's one of the younger Randolph players. Summit at halftime has been able to make adjustments. They did it against Union, won the ball game. They did it against Linden, won the ball game. They came in here as a decided underdog and are still in the ball game despite the fact that they're way behind on the statistical charts. But on the scoreboard, it's only 6, and that's not a whole lot of points in high school.
We talked about it during the first half. What do you think? Is Howie Anderson going to use Alan Parker more often offensively? He's touched the ball 3 times. He's got over 40 yards in offense.
I think that depends on, I think he's going to, definitely, Matt, but the success of that tactic will depend on how John Bauer views Parker's presence in the ballgame. I mean, it's obvious to us because we know from inside information and talking to Howie Anderson that when Parker's in there, he's going to run the ball, and when Guida's in there, he's going to block. So if Randolph recognizes that, it may not be as successful. But here we go.
Bureau kicks off. Pat Natal, one of the upbacks, brings the ball back to the 40-yard line. Bureau's in on the tackle. Summit today, as we look at Alan Parker trotting off the field, has not had the greatest of field position. Look at their first 3 possessions, resulting in punts. And the only time they've started off in Randolph territory was on that very last drive, and that was following a Todd Nichols interception return. On the pitch, Pioli slipped and fell to the ground, and then he dove back on top of it, but a big loss on the play.
Boy, that's something that Howie Anderson didn't like to see. It doesn't bode well when your first offensive play in the second half ends up being a fumble loose in the backfield, and I think both Williams and Pioli did a great job jumping back on that ball and not turning it over to Randolph, but now they're second and about 17.
sure is not in the Summit playbook. Paisler was wrapped up and saw that he was not going to get anything, and then looked and saw number 34 behind him. Watch Rich Tobin. He gets a grab of Paisler early, holds on, and then Paisler looks up and says, well, let me get rid of this ball. But Ken Schultz was there waiting for Fioli.
If it hadn't been for Ken Schultz in good pursuit position, Fioli may have been able to break it back against the green.
3rd and 21 with Guida in motion. And Fioli getting about 5, but it will be 4th and long, and Frieden will come on once again. So the first offensive series of the second half, far from perfect.
And I want to predict that Randolph is going to come all out on this play. They've been close. They haven't really wanted to block a punt. Here we are at the beginning of the second half. They're leading. It's way down here. Summit hasn't moved the ball. It's a good time to take a shot, maybe risk the possibility of roughing the kicker. I think they're going to block one or come close to it.
Figarelli and Beerles back deep. Here they come, and they almost get to it, and that is going to cost them. A flag has been thrown as Beerles dances along the sideline, and let's see what the penalty is. It's going to be roughing the punter.
And they took the chance. They roughed the punter after the kick, no question about it. The man came flying in there after the ball was cleared.
Don Costello, who ran into Frieden.
They took the chance. They gambled. They lost the gamble, but did they really give up too much? It depends on what Summit does on this series. This 3 or 4 downs they're going to have right here.
And let's take a look at the...
The important thing, there you see, right there is where the contact occurs. Man slides underneath. Didn't try to hurt him or anything. He just had his momentum going. The important thing is that you get an automatic first down. The 15 yards did not give them a first down in yardage, but it comes with an automatic first down. So if Summit scores, it'll be a bad gamble.
From the 48. Paisler up the middle, into the secondary, and he goes first down.
That's the Paisler we've seen previously. That's the young man that runs it up inside. Summit coming with their little inside trapping game, and Paisler rumbles. I'll tell you, he ran out of a few tackles. Watch the inside here. You'll see the cross block. 71 coming across. Here's where he runs out of the arms of 2 tackles. Look at that young man's balance on a slippery field in a big ball game for the championship.
From the 36, it's Fioli's turn. And Fioli gets down to the 34. Bill Banks making the stop. 2nd down and about 8.
Todd Formicella, number 71 at left guard, and Scott Savlak, number 73 at right guard, like to do that inside blocking.
Alan Parker is in the game at the right halfback spot, replacing Guida. Let's see what they do. Here comes Parker in motion. He gets the ball. That's the only reason he's in there. And this time it is red very well. Steve Sutherland made the initial tackle, and then Sandler and Costello came in to make the stop. So that's the first time they've been able to stop Parker.
Parker came a lot closer to the line of scrimmage. Watch him now. He used to, or he had, run real wide, but look how he dips inside a lot closer, and in doing so, he gets himself into that pursuit. He normally was able to get outside of that mess, and could not do it that time. 3rd and long.
3rd and 8. Inside they go with Fioli, and he is tripped up by Costello. So it'll be 4th down and about 5 or 6, and on comes Jim Frieden.
Frieden punting from an area that is a lot more slippery than the one he punted from before. The middle of that field is, you can even see a dark spot in the turf that indicates to you, there it is, right in it, indicates to you that the footing is very slippery.
Frieden confirmation for Summit. Barrels back deep, receive the kick for the Rams.
Line of scrimmage, the 34. Beerles back deep. Here they come again. And this is a much better punt. Beerles will let it bounce. And does it go in? Yes, it does. Elrees Broadnax was down quickly, but could not prevent it from getting into the end zone. The ball will come out to the 20, and Randolph will have it. 6:47 left to play in the third quarter. Summit had the ball for 5 minutes and 13 seconds and didn't come up with anything.
I've not been able to stop that little inside trap game that Randolph has run so very, very well in the past.
Up the middle they go, and Sandler has a first down.
And there it was, that inside trap, that little cross block that they've been executing. Winkleman and DeVivo inside trapping and busting loose Sandler on that quick inside trap for a great deal of yardage up inside there. So I think Randolph has decided to concentrate on taking advantage of the middle of that 4-4 defense that Summit is using.
15-yard pickup. Sandler again with the ball, gets up to the 38, a 3-yard gain. It'll be 2nd and 7.
Broadnax and Sablack, number 54 Broadnax, 73 Sablack, have been blitzing on that long gainer. Both linebackers blitzed, and they ran up inside them. When they stay home, that play is a lot less successful. But penetrating the middle of that defense is what Randolph has tried to do here in his first offensive series of the second half.
Here comes Beerles in motion. They go the other way to Figarelli, but Figarelli loses yardage.
Drop by number 7, Guida.
Andrew Guida making the tackle.
Play loses a yard.
It'll be 3rd and about 8. And Nardolillo will crank it up once again.
Remember that he has had a tendency in the first half to employ a quarterback draw. Just come back, spread out that defense, and then just take the ball himself. Here it is, double twin sets. 2 receivers to the right, 2 receivers to the left, 1 man short. The short man is in the middle.
Picked off by Paisler, and he has a wall of blockers, but he outruns his wall and is knocked out of bounds by Brent Cummings, the senior center. 4th interception of Nardolillo today. 5th turnover of the afternoon for Randolph.
There's that pass by Nardolillo. He's throwing back across the field. Paisler intercepts. Now, he almost got grabbed by the defender, or rather the receiver who's on the ground. Now, here he should have just slowed down a little bit and let some of the blockers catch up to him, because that man knocked him out of bounds, but he probably could have had maybe 5 or 15 more yards.
Ball at the 34, and gets down to the 30-yard line.
Picked up by Figarelli.
Nardolillo, Al, had only been intercepted 5 times all year. He has been picked off 4 times this afternoon. 4-yard pickup, 2nd and 6.
Well, he hasn't looked as good as his billing has been in this ball game as a passer. He has impressed me as a very heady rusher and sees the defense spread out. But remember, you have to give Summit a lot of credit also. They're playing very good pass defense.
Leaping over some would-be tacklers is finally tripped up by Beerles. It'll be 3rd down and about a yard.
Howie Anderson sends Joe Waxlag into the game as he's alternating Waxlag and Robert Mitchell at tackle, bringing in the plays. He's got that messenger tackle system. Look for Paisler right up the gut.
I agree. That's the call, and he's got got the first down and more as he got into the secondary and inside the 20-yard line. So Summit now moving the ball, trailing 6-0. A fast-moving third quarter, 3:35 to play in the third quarter, and Randolph on top by 6. Figuarelli, a 3-yard touchdown run in the third quarter, or excuse me, in the second quarter. The difference in the game right now. Paisler with 45 yards this afternoon on the ground. They mark the ball at the 21 and 1st and 10. And Sutherland breaking through, and he and Rago making the tackle.
John Rago was the man that really had a good defensive shot there. He hit his man. Let's get a look at him. Number 77. Right here you'll see him come in from the inside. Sutherland pushing from the outside, and John Rago, the 5'11", 250-pound senior, bangs it up inside and closes off that hole.
1-yard gain, 2nd and 9. Williams fires, complete to Nichols. Tries to get some yardage by cutting back inside, and he is brought down by Sandler.
Paisler is moving again, as he did in the first half. At that time, he moved just a split second before the ball was like, the officials better warn him, otherwise they're going to be throwing that flag, and Summit cannot afford. Take a look at Paisler. See it? Oh, there it is. He just chops his feet. He kind of drops his right foot because he's right-footed, and that little dropping of the foot to get the push that he wants is the illegal motion that they had called against him for 5-yard penalties in the first half. It killed one of their drives.
Parker comes in motion on 3rd and 5, and for the first time, they do not go to Parker when he is in the game. Paisler, the fullback, I believe has picked up the first down. Yes, he has. Is he inside the 10? He is. So it'll be 1st and goal from the 9. So Parker, when he's in there, 4 times in a row he gets the ball. On that 5th time, they go inside.
And John Bauer says, this is too critical. Let me get in here and talk to these boys.
1:53 to play in the third quarter. And it's critical because you pointed it out earlier, Al. A 6-0 ball game doesn't give you any room for comfort because the placement, should the opponent score, gives the opponent the lead.
I'll tell you, we've seen Summit do this. It's gosh almighty tough to do the things they do.
It's what?
They just come out in the second half and impress you by the way they move the ball. I don't know. They haven't done too much different other than inspired those interior linemen. And right now, they are just kicking that defensive line of Randolph right off the line of scrimmage.
They do have a size advantage. If you look at the offensive line for Summit, all of them over 200 pounds, with the exception of Mitchell, who comes in and out with Logschlag with the play, who's at 175, and Spinner, the center, is at 192. They're going up against only one of the 6 up front over 200 pounds, and that's Rago. That, however, has been the story all year long for Randolph. They have given up size, but they have moved their way to a 9-1 record. Ball at the 9, 1st and goal. The pitch goes to Fioli. And Fioli breaking tackles along the way. It's down to what looks like the 5-yard line. With the angle of the sun as it is, it's difficult to see where the ball is marked. They mark it on the 4, 2nd and goal from the 4. This reminds me of Summit's surge against Linden in the second half, Al.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking about when I was talking about how they come out in the second half and just do it.
Paisler tries to bounce outside and cannot do it.
That last run by Fioli was very impressive. He had guys on his back and he had people on his feet, and he just turned the corner and chugged it up in there and got that yardage. Here we are in a real critical situation.
Rago made the stop. Rago, a 2-year starter at left tackle. 3rd and goal from the 3. Less than a minute to play in the third quarter.
I'd look for Paisler right up the middle. he did. He's dropping that right foot, but I'll tell you, he wanted that end zone over the top, underneath, any way he could, and that kid is more and more impressive every time we see him. Watch this from the end zone. What a great shot we're going to see. Here's the linebackers moving around with the motion. Paisler sees the pile up, chugs his legs, gets hit, flies over, and gets that 6, and here is a very important extra point.
Fioli, who is 21 of 28 on the year, is on. It is up, and it is good. And Summit, with 37 seconds left to play in the third quarter, has taken a 7-6 lead.
And Randolph is not used to being in this position at this point in the ball game. We mentioned earlier that Randolph lost to Seton Hall 7-6, and here they are with a similar score, but there's plenty of time left.
We'll take a look at the touchdown run of Paisler once again. It's difficult to see from that alignment, but from our angle, it did look like he moved before the snap, but no call from the officials, and he's in for the 3-yard score, and for Paisler, his 15th touchdown of the year.
Number 34.
This is a big kickoff. Remember, at the beginning of the ball game, Summit kicked the ball out of bounds in an attempt to get the ball away from the deep receivers. Let's see how they kick it now. Virals is the man they don't want to get the ball. Number 25. He does everything for this Randolph Rams club.
This is Mike
Figarelli looking for the return left. Finds the hole, and he has a good return across the 40-yard line to the 41. So good field position for Randolph. 30 seconds left to play in the third quarter. That scoring drive for Summit, as they have had the ball for most of the third quarter. 11 plays, 34 yards following the Paisler interception. Paisler, on the 11th play of the drive, goes in from 3 yards out. The Fioli PAT, it's 7-6.
Randolph has got to move the ball here. Summit has got to stop it.
They go up the middle. Sandler getting about a yard. Now, Virals has been quiet. They haven't had the ball all that long. I think this is just their third play, but they've gone, or fourth play, they've gone mostly with Sandler up the middle.
That last play, Matt, was the exact same play that they busted for about a 20-yard gain, but the linebackers didn't blitz that time, and they were there, and that's the end of the quarter.
We'll take a break. It's 7-6 Summit in this North 2 Group 3 game.